coming up on Lifestyle.
You need to look at this. You need to see where you come from so you know where you're going. If you want to just sit there and complain all day long, that's all you'll ever be. 14-hour day, you know, and they said, we're wrapped. I'm like, man, I don't want to go home. There's helmets, there's chest plates, swords, all kinds of stuff. This is what I want to do. But Hollywood was always way out there, way out there. All those little stupid things I was doing as a kid that my mom was like, ah, you're gonna hurt yourself, he's bleeding again.
You're gonna put an eye out.
Now, exactly, they're like, now this means something.
Welcome to Lifestyle, the award-winning life coaching show that helps you live your best life possible. Here's your host, Roy Ice.
Have you ever met someone whose success seemed effortless until you heard what they had to overcome to get there? Well, today's guest has worked behind the scenes and in the spotlight of some of Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. But his journey began far from the spotlight. As a young immigrant, navigating rejection, fear, and starting over. From rock bottom to a life filled with purpose and impact, his story is one of resilience, reinvention, and the quiet power of giving back. Please welcome the incredible Ardeshir Radpour. There you are. Bro, thanks so much. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Man, I have to tell you, the last times we've seen each other, you did not have that beautiful beard.
Beautiful, I wouldn't quite say that. But, so it's kind of a little bit nature of the business, right? Sometimes you have to grow, sometimes they glue it on, sometimes, you know, you'll have this, they'll be like, can you shave? And you're like, oh my God, like it took like 3 months to grow this and now you want me to shave. And then of course on, that's Monday, and then Tuesday, like, can you grow it back again? And I'm like, it doesn't happen. and I've had that happen where, I've had to grow it and then, it's done. And then you shave, you get on another job and they call you back for reshoots. Yeah. And they're gluing their beard back on. Yeah. I mean, I had for NCIS LA, they were hair by hair gluing it back on to match it. It was incredible. An hour and a half in a chair and they just...
Oh my word. Yeah. My boys and I have fun, especially when we're watching, some of the films you've been in we don't play Where's Waldo, we play Where's Ardeshir? Because you were all over the place, man. Yeah, so many incredible films. What have been some of your favorite experiences?
So mine kind of varies just because of the different interests that I have. Like, one of them that, I was on a bunch of like game shows, talk shows, things like that, was when I was riding the horse during the USC football games. So I would get invited to come in as the mascot. It would be the same entrance, except I would come in on a horse in full armor.
Oh my word.
So that was always, something, and a diehard Trojan, so that always meant something to me. Growing up, watching Westerns, as a kid, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood. So that to me was always fun to get on a Western and be able to do something. I got on Westworld, so that was incredible. And some other Westerns. But then, of course, there's those larger than life things, the things that like Avatar. Yeah. Like I had to pinch myself, I was on the soundstage, just completely empty. There's nothing in there. And it's just a giant white poster with a blue A on it. And it said, James Cameron's Avatar. And I'm just sitting there staring at this thing going, somebody's going to come in here and be like, get out of here, kid, that kind of thing. And then, of course, Star Wars. I mean, I grew up a Star Wars fan, went to Star Wars in 1977, and just watched it over and over and over again the way we all the Star Wars fans do, right? Yeah. And then you just kind of pinch yourself to think that you're on a Star Wars series. I'm Jabba the Hutt's palace, or I'm a stormtrooper or clone trooper or something like that. I'm like...
You were the very first live-action clone trooper. Yeah. One of the very first, because in the prequels...
It's all CGI.
Yeah.
All CGI. I was even talking with Hayden. He goes, I had to do this alone. He goes, I walked up on a ramp and it was just me. And so even he came in. We're looking at Hayden, looking at him, going, "Oh my God, that's Darth Vader." He's looking at us, going, "Oh my God, those are the clones."
He'd never seen them
because he'd never seen it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my word! Now on Avatar: Way of Water, you did a ton of work, not only because you're an incredible, I don't know what you call it, horseman?
Yeah, horseman.
Horseman, but also in the area of archery. Yeah. Talk to us about your experience and what you did.
As a kid, growing up, you always want to play like knights, Robin Hood, knights, that kind of stuff. So at 5-year-old, and I was walking around a construction site in Iran with my dad. I picked up this thing that looked like a bow. And I'm like, why is this thing even bent like this? And they're like, oh yeah, we can make a bow out of it. So at 5 years old, I started archery. Yeah. And just working and getting better and faster and better and better and faster and faster. And then Fast forward to when Avatar was coming about, they wanted a speed test. It was really fast speed test. I knew 99% of the people around here couldn't do it. So it was 5 arrows in about 11 seconds.
I think it takes me 11 seconds just to
pull
get
it
it.
out. Yeah, most people don't realize it.
Yeah.
A good, well-trained, English archer would have shot off about 16 arrows in a minute, but that's after 10 years of training.
Wow.
So I went a little bit more the Eastern style of archery, Persian style, Turkish style, Mongol style. So when I sent in my submission tape, I was at 5 arrows in 4.8 seconds.
Wow.
So then I got called and I said, come in. They're like, hey, we want to see, what your method is with this, and can you teach the kids? And I said, yeah, that's not a problem. I've been a coach, for like 30 years, not archery, horses. My kids are easy for me. That's not a big deal at all. I go, but they need to be able to train as if this is military style, as opposed to one archer, one target, and you're just sitting there schooling. You have to be across the board. You have to be able to train them to be able to run and move and stuff like that. And 1 week, these guys, went from not being able to shoot one arrow and running to where we were jumping over blocks, doing flips, doing cartwheels, rolling over things, stacking on top of each other and shooting. So it was pretty impressive. That's a talented group of people on that whole cast and crew, right?
Yeah.
So that was quite an adventure. And then a year later, they said, "Hey, I want you to come back and be one of the horsemen."
Yeah.
And so the whole train sequence and some of the other horse sequences.
Are you the one, because there's at that opening train sequence, there's the one guy that shoots the.
So there's the one,
aircraft?
you see the ones coming in, there's one yelling. Everybody's like, how do you know that was you? I'm like, well, because they were like, Ardeshir, why are you yelling? I'm like, we're supposed to be attacking a train. Why wouldn't I be?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, so I was like looking at all the behind the scenes stuff to see like which one I could sync up. And so we all rotated through with all the different weapons. There's only 5 of us there.
Wow.
So
it was all motion capture. I think we have a picture of you actually in the motion capture get up.
That's Pandora right there in its full glory. Concrete sound stage and,
Since I've met you, I just immediately saw, man, you are a guy that's passionate about doing what you're doing and just really digging in, coming from a Persian background, being Iranian. Did you find any pushback as a kid? Did you find open doors or really stereotyped into certain roles?
In Hollywood, not so much. As a kid, yes. As a kid, it was really rough. I wouldn't say that it was in particular geared towards me, but you have the hostage crisis going on, so people are angry. They're yelling, "Give us back the hostages!" I'm like, I don't have them.
They're not at my house.
I'm 8 years old. I don't know what do you want me to do about this? So there was a little bit of that, but I got very lucky. I had a very nice neighborhood that I grew in. A lot of family-oriented people. All of those people, all Americans. There was no foreigners at that time. They all took us in, like, no, you're with us, and they kind of kept all that stuff at bay. Here and there, you do get those stereotypes. I don't necessarily think it's anybody in particular. There are biases in the business. Yeah. But the hard part is when you're looking at somebody, they go, he doesn't look like a cowboy. And I'm like, well, what does a cowboy look like? They think they look like you. But I'm like, well, look at Lee Van Cleef. Look at all the old Westerns. Yeah. Look at how they looked. But today they want that one specific look because that's what they stereotypically think they see. Yeah. So if I'm clean shaved, believe it or not, I look very GQ, very clean cut, very nice. They're like, hey, he doesn't look tough. And I'm like, all right, so I got to glue on a beard and get that rough guy look. I combed my hair and got it all nice and clean for you guys today. But, you get like, oh my God, he looks crazy. And then they're like, hey, we want, FBI guys. And I'm like, well, I can do that too. So what I did was I started preparing all the photos so that within the submissions, you can send in the different looks so they can see you as an FBI agent, they can see you as a cowboy, they can see you as a Spaniard, they can see you as anything. And they're like, oh, wow, thanks for sending that in because they had a hard time imagining it because they have their own
versatility of what you can do.
Even the very liberal-minded aspect of Hollywood has its own stereotypes that are. So you have to kind of push through that. I don't take offense to any of that stuff. Yeah. I don't really care if they, like my look or not. It doesn't matter. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. So you just kind of got to swallow your pride and be like, hey, I wasn't right for this job. I'll move on to the next job.
That takes a lot of stamina and courage.
It does.
We got to take a break, but don't go away because we're going to be right back. We're back with Ardeshir Radpour. Now, Ardeshir, you've had to reinvent yourself multiple times because you haven't done acting and stunt work for your entire career. Take us back to your college days.
Okay, so in order to understand my college days, I got to take you back a little bit further.
Excellent.
So when I was growing up, I lived in Iran until I was 7. I was supposed to go to Switzerland, go to Swiss boarding school, finance, that kind of stuff. We came to America. I was going to Disneyland, having a fun time at Disneyland, right? Revolution happens. My dad says, hey, you got to put him into school. Let me go see what's going on. It hadn't happened yet. Goes back and he goes, oh, wow, it's martial law. Put him into school. I go see Star Wars. I come back. I'm like, all right, so now I'm in America. A little kid, not really knowing what's going on. As I go through high school, I'm very interested in marine biology and that kind of stuff. And I was going to go, work for Jacques Cousteau. I mean, I went to Scripps, met the Cousteau people and all this stuff. And like, yeah, you're going to come in. I was like, just a hobby. Then I was going to go into the military, be a pilot. I was like, okay, just a hobby. I mean, I loved it, but you really got to pour your heart and soul into it. Yeah. I get into USC and I start playing polo there. And I immediately was like, man, this is part of my DNA. I kind of feel like ancestral thing kicking in, right? I'm like, wow, this is amazing. After I graduated USC, I started playing polo professionally. So kind of at the bottom, started with my coaches who were the top female players in the world. I'm like, all right, I love doing this. Decided to go get my master's degree. So I'm doing my master's degree using polo, and every once in a while we would get calls for, hey, we need some young polo players to come for like a Ralph Lauren commercial or like a Hennessy whiskey commercial or train somebody for some polo stuff on a movie or a TV or commercial or something. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. We'd go do it, and I loved it. I loved it. And after like 12 hours, like, hey, we're all wrapped. You guys can go home. It's kind of a little bit bummed, but I'm like, okay. But Hollywood was always way out there, way out there. So I started riding the horse during the USC football games after I had graduated. And I get one casting director after another, producer, people coming up to me like, man, you can command this whole stadium. You've got really good natural presence. You should do this. And I thought, you and like 13 million other people are going to get in line to be an actor or a stuntman. It's just not going to happen. So to me, it wasn't a reality. So once I graduated with my master's, my partner, my best friends and I started a tech company. So we got into tech and started one of the first tech companies in LA. So we literally go to business and say, hey, we got to set up your email account. They're like, what's email? We had to explain to them what email was. They're like, this is a gimmick. It's going to go away. No joke. This is what they were telling us. And we're like, wow, okay. So fast forward, I'm kind of doing, playing polo, doing my stuff, a couple of commercials here and there, little things. 2008 economic collapse happened. Coincidentally, I get a phone call, and that was a hard one, right? A lot of companies were going under, banks, things like that. So I get a call, and they're like, hey, we need a guy who's good with horses, but also a weapons expert. So all those little stupid things I was doing as a kid that my mom was like, you're going to hurt yourself. He's bleeding again.
Gonna put an eye out.
Now, exactly. They're like, now this means something. So, so all of a sudden I come on the show, and, I had some friends that were special forces friends. So, I was trained with them here and there and kind of had the modern idea, but I had all the classical weapons practice and training and stuff like that, especially on horses. And, who was doing that stuff back then? Not really that many people, except for specialty groups, right? But they didn't have really much entertainment experience, like what you're supposed to do. So I got into it. 14-hour day, and they said, we're wrapped. I'm like, man, I don't want to go home. There's helmets, there's chest plates, swords, all kinds of stuff. This is what I want to do. And I stopped for 1 second and I said, you know what? If you're going to make that transition, now is the time. Now is the time. So I get into it. And a year later, I was like, what am I doing? Oh my God, man, I'm worried about a $200 bill. I don't know how I'm going to pay this bill, that bill, mortgage, this kind of stuff. And I said, no, just stick to it. So I just kind of persisted. And there was a lot of, no, this clique is this clique is this, like car guys, motorcycle guys, horse guys, fire guys. There's these cliques and you're trying to figure out what's going on. The other side of it, my polo was going, and it was going great, but I played polo with a ton of film executives, studio owners. Like, Ardeshir, we can help you. I'm like, I can't use that. I need to earn my oats. I need to earn my keep here amongst these guys. I got to hit the ground hard enough and bring skill sets to the table that they'll look and they go, we have to have him. So there was a long climb. It was a really, really tough, climb there. So I had to reinvent myself, a few times over throughout my, my life, where I'm like looking, going, which path do I want to go? You hit that fork in the road all the time. And I just have never been somebody who was afraid of that. It's just something I got from, from my dad. And he goes, just take a look at anybody who's successful. I'm like, okay. And he goes, they got 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, 1 mouth, just like you. So if they did it, you can do it. So I was like, yeah, there you go. You get a lot of rejection. You get told no a lot. You just got to work through that until you get to where you need to go. And then the other thing I found is in this business, just don't lie.
Yeah.
I do find that a lot of people fib a lot about what they can do and what they're willing to do. They go, I just need to get my foot through that door. And I'm like, that's the worst thing you can do. Yeah. You're going to get your foot through that door, and there's 200 people expecting you to do what you said you can do, and you can't do it, especially in stunts.
Yeah.
Especially in stunts.
Yeah.
And now everybody's looking at you going, Mama, what a waste of time, you know? So that's the one thing I was taught as a kid. Just don't lie, be honest, practice, 1,000 hours of practice, 1 minute of doing it right. 1,000 hours of practice, 2 minutes of doing it right. So for Avatar, I was shooting light day 600, heavy day 800 arrows a day, just to tune myself back up so that when I'm there, I can show them exactly what needs to be done.
Amazing. Yeah. We get to take a break, but we'll be right back. Don't go away. We're back with Ardeshir Radpour. Now, Ardeshir, I've heard you mention a couple of times your dad. Talk to me about your relationship with your dad and how your relationship helped you form into the man that you are.
So my mom and dad are sacred to me. My mom was a lion, and my dad just underneath her. She made sure he stayed right there. But, my dad, like from minute one, he's always told me, just believe in yourself. It doesn't matter if other people believe in you or not. As long as you believe in yourself, then you'll be able to make them believe in you. But how are you going to get someplace if you don't have faith in yourself in that capacity? And how do you gain that faith in yourself? He's like, just work hard. So I remember, as a kid, he would take me to places, all over the world. I got lucky. I traveled all over the world. But one of the other places that he took me to was the village he was born in, that he brought electricity to.
Oh, my word.
And when he took me there, he said, take a look at this. And I'm looking at these doors, those old style adobe buildings with the doors. He goes, you need to look at this. You need to see where you come from so you know where you're going. You have to appreciate how far everyone else has come and how far we go. And that's the same thing that he used to tell me when we would watch Westerns. He goes, look at these people. Horses and wagons and all this stuff, man, they had to really, really work hard to get from A to B. This is what life is about for everybody. It doesn't matter what your background is. If you want to just sit there and complain all day long, that's all you'll ever be. Yeah. So figure it out. If your situation is bad, figure it out and move ahead. I mean, I'm grateful to him for that, and I return that favor to him now. You got to stay devoted like that.
Wow. And I understand your dad's in the audience.
Yeah, my dad is right here, right in the front.
Ardeshir, that says a lot about you, about your relationship with your parents and what they've trained you to be as far as loving and close to them during this time of their lives. Yeah. Now, you and I met in about 4 years ago, 2001, summer of 2021, on the set of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
And we both got to be stormtroopers. What was your experience like on Obi-Wan?
That was the day that I was also cabled. If you remember, they yanked us back on cables. So I had to fly like 28 feet past all the stormtroopers, hit the ground, and lay on the ground as everybody was walking all over.
You have not only been on that Star Wars Disney Plus series. You were before that on Book of Boba Fett. You've been face characters. Yeah. You were on Skeleton Crew. You were all over the place with the Star Wars stuff.
Trying.
What was that like for you? Because it's Star Wars. It was like one of the first films we remember.
So if anybody's a Star Wars fan, you guys will understand this. If they said they needed 3,000 stormtroopers, there's one guy standing on top of that hill, and on action he just dies. I would have been happy being that one. Yeah. I would have just been happy being that stormtrooper. It's extremely euphoric. And I think anybody who's a Star Wars fan, not just a job, but if they're a Star Wars fan and they're there, I think they know what I'm talking about. Which, of course, then when I was asked if I can help bring some 501st guys that look the part and know how to do it, then I would look out at everybody else. Because I was on stunt crew, right? Yeah. But I happened to be 501st.
And that's how I got my chance. We're both a member of a charity group called the 501st Legion. And that is a group of us crazy Star Wars fans who choose to go to hospitals and volunteer at schools and special events to just bring joy into people's lives.
It's been an honor to be in Star Wars, but it's really nice with the 501st for what we get to do. Just go out there and give it back to somebody. some kid or a veteran or somebody that just needs a little fun day, a pick-me-up or something like that.
Yeah, the focus is on the people.
Exactly.
And that's the beautiful thing about organizations like 501st Legion.
Yeah, exactly.
Ardeshir, it's been amazing. I could do about 5 or 6 episodes with you.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for being here.
The honor is all
and sharing
mine.
with us today. Don't go away. When we come back, I have some powerful words for you too about how you can give back and create your best life. If you've just hit rock bottom, it may feel like the walls have caved in, the lights are out, and every door has slammed shut. But listen closely. Rock bottom isn't where you end, it's where you start again. This time, with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Science backs this up. Psychologists call this post-traumatic growth, the science-backed idea that people often emerge stronger, wiser, and more purposeful after major setbacks. Studies from the University of North Carolina show that over 60% of people who have faced deep adversity report positive life changes after the storm, more gratitude, deeper relationships, and clearer priorities. Your brain is wired for resilience. Even now, your mind is quietly scouting for a way forward. Picture this moment not as a failure, but as a reset. So start with what you do have: your breath, your will, your story. Ask for help. Name the pain. Take one small, brave step forward. You're not at the end. You're at the beginning of a new chapter with hard-won strength. Think of this moment like being deep underground where diamonds are formed. Pressure doesn't destroy you, it refines you. Darkness doesn't define you, it prepares you. Your diamond starts here, and you've got this. Don't forget that you can find exclusive content on all of our guests. Check us out on social media using the handle Lifestyle with Roy.